Let's go! Alright guys, we're going to take some of these foam Dollar Tree wreath forms and we are going to glue them together and we are going to spray paint them with Terracotta Spray-Paint and make them look like a terracotta planter. And I'm going to put these on my porch and they end up so cute. So here I'm just taking those wreath forms and I'm gluing them together. On the next one I actually used some E6000 instead of just hot glue. I used both. I recommend doing that. It seemed to stick a little bit better and it didn't have so many of those little flyaways from the hot glue. And like I said, it just looks better. So I would recommend doing that instead of just the hot glue. And here's a little tip for you. If you will put a little bit of hot glue on your new glue stick as you stick it in your hot glue gun, it will stay in there and not fall out. And I'm just making sure that these are all pretty straight up and down. Here I'm showing you the E6000 that I ended up using. It's the quick hold and it dries relatively quickly. On this one, I went back and used it in the little creases that you see there. Like I said, on the next one that I did, and I didn't record that one because I didn't think you would want to see me gluing stuff together over and over, I actually put a row of it down and left a few little blank spots in between, and in those blank spots I put the hot glue, and it seemed to stick so much better. So do it that way if you end up making one of these. That's my suggestion at least. And put as many of the wreath forms as you want. I used 4 on one of mine and 6 on the other. And here I'm showing you the Terracotta Spray Paint, and I got that off of Amazon. That's the only place I could find it. I can link it for you guys if you can't find it on your own, but just search Terracotta Spray Paint on Amazon and you should be able to find it. And I just gave it a good coat all over. And then I took this little pool noodle end cap thingy that I found at the Dollar Tree. I thought the shape was really cool. And this is how they turned out. Like I said, super easy, but they turned out so, so cute. And you can put faux plants in it, or you could actually put dirt and real plants. So, and be sure if you make these, go over to Instagram and post a picture and tag me at Christy Creates DIY because I would love to see it. I wanted to hop in real quick and tell you that today's video is in collaboration with Ieleen over at the Harts. If you haven't watched any of her videos, you need to go check her out. She is the sweetest little thing and makes the cutest DIYs. So go check her out after you watch this video. I will link her channel down below so that you can go check it out. And here I thought I would include a few of the photos of what she's going to be making in that video. So make sure after you leave here that you go check her channel out. Alright, for this little herb planter, wall hanger, I mean you could use it for whatever, but it would be a cute little herb garden for inside or outside of your house. I'm taking this sign, and this is a sign I actually got beside the road one day. Somebody had put it out. You could use just a plain piece of wood. You could use a sign from the Dollar Tree. Just get creative. And I'm just giving it a coat of, this is actually a really dark gray chalk paint. This chalk paint I got at either Lowe's or Home Depot because Walmart has been out for so long, so I couldn't find any of the Waverly chalk paint, which is what I normally use just because it's a little cheaper. But this covers really well. And then once I put 3 coats of that on. And then I'm going to take, that's the Waverly chalk paint in ink, and it's just a little bit darker than what I used on the sign. And I'm kind of going over and just kind of dry brushing just to give it some texture and dimension, just to kind of darken it up just a little bit. You could kind of still see the words poking back through, and this kind of covered them up so you can't see them anymore. This would be a step that you wouldn't have to do. I just wanted to do it because it kind of, I prefer the look of the little bit of distressing and dry brushing over the top. Even though it wasn't super noticeable, it just looked really cute, in my opinion. And while I had just a second while I was just showing that part, if you're new, make sure that you introduce yourself down in the comments below because I would love to say hi. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I will be posting a bunch of new videos coming up in the next week or two, so just FYI. And I'm fixing to get out these buckets that I found at the Dollar Tree. They're just a little white plastic bucket. They come in a set of 3. And I'm showing you here, I'm going to make the buckets look like they're that metal enamel look, like the old school metal enamel. And you can use chalk paint, you can use a paint pen, you could use a permanent marker. You could use any of those to get this effect. I just went with the chalk paint because I like that matte finish. And I'm taking just a sponge paintbrush, and you just get just a little bit on your brush, and then you just take it and you can kind of, with that sponge brush, you can just kind of go around the edge. And if it's a little messy, that is fine because that enamel look was always a little bit messy and rustic in Farmhouse. And I'm going around the top rim, the bottom rim, and then I'm also going to paint the handle minus the part right in the center, because when we get to that part, I'm going to wrap some twine around to give that little wooden handle effect like the old school buckets had on them. So I hope that makes sense. I will show all of these steps in the video, so if you don't understand, just keep watching. I apologize if you hear the lawnmower in the background. My son decided he was going to mow the yard today, so, and of course it was right when I was going to be doing this video. That's okay though. How many of you guys have teenagers, and are they tired of being home during quarantine? Mine are so ready to go back to school, which I never in a million years thought I would hear them say. And here I'm going to go back and show you, now that the rim has kind of dried, that enamel look. To get that Farmhouse look, old metal enamel buckets and plates and all of that had that worn look to them where it would start to wear down, and this was before it got rusty. It would have like these spots like this where it would like kind of chip back. So that's what I was kind of showing you how to do. You just kind of run your paintbrush along through there and make a messy little spot. The messier the better. It doesn't have to be nice and neat, I promise. That gives you a more authentic look when it's messy. And here's where I'm taking, this is just twine from the Dollar Tree, just the jute twine. And I'm going to wrap it around the handle just in that spot that I didn't paint there. And that's because old metal buckets, like if you've ever seen one, like a true Farmhouse bucket, has usually like a little wooden handle right there just to kind of make it a little easier on your hand for when you were carrying it. And so I'm kind of trying to mimic that look, just to kind of make it look a little bit more authentic in Farmhouse. And I'm just taking some hot glue, kind of tacking it down, and it stayed in place really well. And now we've got all 3 of our buckets done. And I found these little pushpin hooks at the Dollar Tree the other day. They're just a regular push pin and they have a little hook on the bottom. So I thought I'm going to try these out and see if it works, and it did end up working. So if you're able to find these, use these. If not, you could use just a little tiny like finishing nail or a little screw, just whatever you have. You could probably even use a thumbtack that didn't have the hook on it. That would probably work too. And here I'm just measuring just so I can get it somewhat even. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can kind of eyeball it. Like I said, I more just measured it just so the distance between each bucket would be about the same. And in between each one of my buckets, I did 10 inches in between. And then here's what it ends up looking like. So cute. It would be cute inside or outside. I just put a little bit of boxwood in it to kind of decorate it for you. Now we are going to make a cute little faux vase. I'm going to use that little tin that I found in the garden section at the Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to use the actual plunger part of a plunger from the Dollar Tree. I took the dowel part out, and you can save that for another DIY. And I'm going to glue the plunger onto the top of the tin. I'm going to use that Quick Hold E6000 that I showed you earlier, and I'm going to also use some hot glue. What I wish I would have done before, and I started to do it earlier and I decided not to because I didn't think it would make that big a deal. I wish I had cut that little rim off of the plunger before I ever stuck it on. Like I said, I start to try to cut it off here, and it kind of wants to try to pull the glue back a little bit. So I thought, well, I'll just cover it up with twine. And like I said, had I had it to do over, I would have removed it. Here is, you can use jute twine from the Dollar Tree. You can use nautical rope from the Dollar Tree. I had some, this was a flatter twine that I had gotten on Amazon. I decided to go with it just because it was a little bit wider than the Dollar Tree twine. So use whatever you have on hand. I mean, any of it will work. This is just what I went with. And I'm going to speed this up so that you don't have to watch me, because you know how to. I just kind of went around. You don't have to glue every single row. I did at first and then toward the end, but in the middle, I just wrapped and wrapped and didn't put any glue. So it's up to you. If you want to use a lot of glue, you can. If you don't, you don't have to. And we're going to speed it up to the end here. And I'm just going, like I said, at the top part, it didn't want to stick super well if I was just wrapping it. So I did use quite a bit of glue on the actual plunger part. And then I made sure that I went ahead and wrapped the twine kind of around the top there so you couldn't tell it was a plunger. And then I went back in that little groove where there was like a pretty big divot, and I put just a couple more rows of twine, and it kind of filled it back in so it wasn't just like this weird stuck out part, if that makes sense. And now I'm going to take my lighter and just kind of burn off any of those frayed pieces. You don't have to do this. I just like the cleaner look. I'm going to take some frog tape. You could use electrical tape. You could use painter's tape, masking tape, duct tape. And I'm just going to tape off an area. I wanted just kind of a abstract look. So it kind of gave that boho feel. And then I'm going to go in with my black chalk paint. And that was another personal preference. You could use a different color if you want. And you would not have to do this part if you don't want to. I just thought it gave it a really cool effect. It looks really cool after I get done. So you do what makes you happy. I'm just here to inspire you to create something that you will love for your home. So if you love it, that's all that matters. And you're just going to paint, paint, paint. I used kind of a little chippy brush, but it's one of those little short ones. So it had firmer bristles. And I kind of didn't paint toward the tape. I started on the tape and came in. And that way it didn't bleed underneath the tape, because you can't get it stuck down super well on this rope and twine. And then I just kind of use a lot of paint and just get in those grooves. It doesn't have to be perfect. It will still look cute from far away, I promise. And then once you get it all painted, we are going to take off that tape. And look how cute! Is that not adorable? I love it so much. And I'm going to stick some cute little like palm type leaves in it. And it looks so cute. And you could use this inside or outside. So, hopefully you guys love it. Make sure you let me know in the comments down below if you liked any of these, which one was your favorite, and just say hi. Like, I love it when my followers say hi. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed, what I made. I hope you had fun. You got a little inspiration so that you can create something for yourself in your home. Make sure if you liked today's video that you give me a thumbs up before you leave. And if you aren't subscribed yet, think about hitting that subscribe button before you leave. And that way YouTube will notify you every time I upload a new video. See you next time.